Out in the Wisconsin woods is the North Wind Homestead that's a model of self-sufficiency, where a couple grows their own food, raises their own chickens, turkeys, and pigs, and has an off-grid property powered by solar and wind energy. Tom Gallazan and Ann Rosenquist were featured in a previous video. She was on several episodes of the Alone TV series, where she was placed in a survival situation in northern Saskatchewan in Canada, and lived off the land for 19 days before tapping out. Tom, her partner, grew up just down the road from the property he now lives on. There's always some work to do on the homestead. Autumn time is a busy time. There are fruits and vegetables to harvest, as this is how they make money to pay for the very few things they need to purchase, like car insurance, gasoline, and pay off those dreaded property taxes. Out here, it's necessary to take care of business. Well, yeah, that type of business is important too, but that's not what we're talking about right now. It's harvest time on the homestead, so let's join Tom and Ann. Rockhopper here, and I'm with Ann and Tom, who've been living off-grid since 1982 on a homestead in the Wisconsin woods, and they're going to tell you how you can become more self-sufficient. This morning we're going to be digging up potatoes. Right now we got the purple potatoes, and we're going to go on down the line. We've got some reds and some whites. Here's a few. Yeah, got some of those. And we'll just throw them up here in the wheelbarrow. Go on down the line. This is our potato haul so far. Just a little bit left to go and we're done. Don't those potatoes look pretty now that they're all cleaned up? We're gonna drive this little electric car down and dump off some apples. Alright. Alright, so we're gonna take some apples down?
Yep.
Alright, let's take this little electric car on down. On our way out, we passed an electric car with a solar panel on it that was from the 1970s that Tom once used. So this thing cost you about $2,000 and about $1,000 for the shipping?
Right. A couple of years ago, I don't know what the prices are now, but it was bought on that Alibaba website by my son and shipped to Seattle. And there's a trucker that goes out there and comes back and uses it as a backhaul. Get it here.
And so what's the range on this electric car?
They say, I haven't gone that far, the range would be about 15 miles on the level. But I use it mostly around the farm, going sometimes 3-4 trips a day up and down the hill here to the far field we're going to.
There's the solar panel up top to charge the battery.
We're infected with insect larvae. So we're taking them far away from the main part of the farm. The new insects that are regenerated from that aren't going to be in our crop.
All right, so we're just going to dump them out in the field here.
Yeah, it'll make good fertilizer, I guess. The wild turkeys may peck at them too.
So this is your strawberry field right here?
This is our strawberry field. Yeah, it's produced fruit 2 years in a row, and we're going to get some production next year too. And then we'll probably be planting in the spring another field that will be our major field after that for a few years.
I remember my brother who used to raise strawberries down by Cumberland, Wisconsin, looking out the window there at that field before us when I first got this place, said, "Tom, I don't think you'll ever be able to grow berries without an artificial fertilizer." 5 years later, it was a really good strawberry field. There's fisheries around here. I was able to get fish waste those places for nothing, and I would bury that fish waste in the fields. We established fertility here a little bit.
What do we have here, Ann?
Well, it's supposed to frost tonight, so I piled all the zucchini plants that haven't really frosted yet for the pigs. But I don't know if anyone knows this, but you just cut off, this is a zucchini stem leaf. It's kind of prickly on the outside. I got a clippers here. You just scrape it. You could do it with a knife too, or even with your fingers and get those prickles off. And it's like celery. Kinda. It's juicier. Kind of tasteless, but a nice little crunchy thing to eat.
Okay, so you could actually eat those stems of the leaf.
Yeah. It's actually really good.
Those are some really big zucchinis. Tell me about those.
These, you can see we put a red rag around them to mark them for seed. We've been trying to save the longer ones. So once they get like this, they're ripe. which means the seeds are ripe. So we'll cut into these and get our seed, but then we also save a lot to eat. It's like my favorite pumpkin seed or whatever. It seems like they're the best seed you can get. They're not as thick as of a shell or whatever. Yeah, they make good roasted seeds.
So you roast the zucchini seeds and they're even better than the pumpkin seeds?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, so if your zucchini get too big, there you go. And then those are cucumbers that got too big. We're saving, those are seed. Overgrown cucumbers and zucchini that got a little big before the frost, but this is good pig food, good chicken food. The chickens love the seeds.
Okay, so cucumbers and zucchinis, and these are going to the pigs and the chickens.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so all of this.
Yeah, good food for them.
And they like it a lot.
Oh yeah, a lot of protein in there.
Collecting the last of the pole beans for the season.
Yep.
All right, get the rest of those.
Yum.
I've been staying in this little cabin here on Tom's property. It's just down from Tom's house. Interestingly enough, Tom grew up just about a quarter-mile down the road from this property here. Let me give you a quick tour of the place. Come on in the front door and come on in here. There's a little light from the solar panel. Got the little solar devices over there, charging and whatnot. This is the kitchen over here. Got a nice little wood stove, which I'm probably going to make good use of this evening. It's probably going to rain tonight. Got a nice little piece of artistic flair back there. And this is the rest of the living area here. Go up these stairs, up this ladder, and I'll sleep up here, up on the second floor. I think I'm going to sleep right there. I have a real mattress to sleep on this evening, so that'll be nice. Got a view out here of the woods. Good morning. Fired up the wood stove last night and I worked here at this table at my computer doing some editing. That was my cozy little bed for the evening. And now I'm going to go and film Tom and Ann. There's an abundance of the remaining fruits and vegetables to harvest. Everything from peaches to beets, raspberries to broccoli. Fall keeps Ann and Tom busy as bees. Well, maybe not this bee, who seems to be having a nap. You got a lot of garlic there, Tom. So these are the culls?
Yeah, they're perfectly good, or at least most of the cloves in them are, but something like this, or these little layers that cover the bulb, there are 3 or 4 layers there, but some of them, maybe it was in the ground too long, some of them disintegrated, and so it doesn't look as presentable. Or if it gets super dried out, you might set it down and the clove might get loose, so selling the head might not be that good of a thing. And another example of a cull is this one. It's pretty firm, nice little head, but it's miniature, and most people want to have bigger cloves than that and more of a head. And this one is a head that's kind of dried up. Some of these problems like this come from a disease called Astor's yellow that's spread by insects. And there are some other examples too. This one is just a little bit starting to yellow here, and often that indicates that there's a problem. It might not be as viable as a seed, but it's okay to eat. A lot of it's cosmetic, and some of it is garlic that we just don't think would keep long enough, because you should be able to store garlic for a number of months, into the spring pretty much, if you leave it in an airy, dry place, out of direct sunlight and out of the cold.
Okay, so all the garlic you have there are the culls, and the ones behind you you'll either sell or you use for seed for next season. Is that correct?
Yeah, typically we'll look for, this is a nice head of garlic here. It's got fairly good sized cloves, and it's got lots of them. It's got 2, 4, 5, so typically we'll break these up into individual cloves when we go to plant it. And if there's a small clove, we'll bounce that out for eating, and the large cloves that are in good condition we'll plant. A larger clove will give you a larger head of garlic the next year. The size varies a little with the position in the field and all that, but there's one variety up here that we just started with, larger than most. The heads on that are really good sized, and the individual cloves would be too. And this one is called Majestic. Hoping to plant a lot of that along with some of our other favorites like Georgian Fire. That's kind of a little hotter garlic. I think we've been planting some of that, and
A German extra hearty is a popular one that a lot of people buy.
Okay, so different garlics have slightly different tastes.
Yeah, right. And heat levels. We've sat down and tried to distinguish that in a little setting here. Okay, we got 5 different kinds of garlic here, so let's start in and see what the differences are. But well, after the second or third one, it's hard to detect the subtleties because you have so much garlic flavor in your mouth. But we did find out of the ones we were growing that Georgian Fire was the hottest. That was raw. We didn't do a cooked comparison.
So I bet if you're tasting garlic raw, your mouth is on fire.
Yeah, that's right. With almost any variety.
Yeah.
We're harvesting some cabbage that we already harvested. If you harvest it early enough, it makes some tiny heads. And it's not good for much.
A number of different heads.
But look how cute they are. They're cute.
And some
That's
of them are
usable.
real loose leaf now, but some of them
This is pretty
get hard.
firm. And, you know, there's 5 cabbages on there maybe.
Okay, so you can get multiple harvests off the cabbage.
Oh, well, at least
Or at least
2.
2.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like free food. It's not just red cabbage that stores. There's different cabbages that store. There's cabbage that are made to store. Yeah. And
Okay.
then there's cabbages that don't store as well. So,
But these are hard and store well.
yeah.
And we like the red cabbage.
So what happens with these cabbage when you get in a drought situation?
Well, if it's a long-term drought, they have been deprived of water, and you get a sudden infusion of rain, things grow real quickly, and some of the heads that have formed will split. And once they split, insects get in there, moisture stays in there, they tend to start rotting. So it's not a good storage cabbage or marketable cabbage. Before a rain, sometimes we will go out and we'll take the cabbage and put a little twist on it so you can kind of hear a little bit of ripping, and that'll rip some of the tissue that's transporting the water up to the cabbage head. Another thing I started doing is getting a pair of large pliers. Instead, you know, and the method of that is, you can see where I did it on this one earlier, just kind of tearing off the outer bark of it. I put the pliers on there and go back and forth a couple times, and that prevents the translocation of the moisture up. That, I think, works pretty good because we had a heck of a rain after a heck of a dry spell, and it doesn't seem to be any cracking.
So organic gardening can be tough at times, right? Like these apples, what happened?
Well, it's a low apple year, so there's not many apples, so they're all going to be cider grade, but they're pretty gnarly. I mean, they're real gnarly. Like, you know, this is worm trails, you know, through there. Most of them have worms. You can kind of see the worm trails through there. It's not good. But
Right.
they're good cider quality.
And sometimes you get fungus or what?
Yeah, there's some fungal issues going on. Let's see, where's one? Right here. This is called scab. You know, it's superficial. It's just right on the outside. See, it's white inside.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's just cosmetic.
Yeah, it's a cosmetic thing. And actually, this one doesn't appear to have worms. As ugly as it is, I don't see any worm trails through here.
But just because an apple's ugly doesn't mean it's not good, right?
Right. There's no pesticides on it. Apples are one of the top pesticide sprayed things around.
And personally, I'd rather have an apple that has a worm inside, because if that worm is happy and healthy, I know that apple's good for me too.
Right.
And I get a little suspect with some of these
Yeah.
apples that look too perfect.
Yeah, I don't want to die of cancer.
This is the chicken coop.
These are Cornish cross chickens. They're for meat. They put on weight fast. So they're probably ready to butcher, but we might take them a little bit longer. In the past, we've had them get as big as 18 pounds. And they're still tender and still good. There is a turkey. There's a turkey, a meat turkey.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah.
And so do you get eggs from these guys at all?
No, we don't take them till they get old enough. They're made for meat. They're
Okay.
not really made to lay eggs.
Now, do you have any chickens out here that are for eggs?
Yeah, we have in another coop.
So this is the meat group here. And then there's a turkey in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a small one.
Let's see, where are you, turkey?
2 of them. Well, there's a,
Are you in here?
the
There
one-legged,
he
that's
is.
the-
There's the turkey one
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
and then the other one
And,
is behind that board.
see
Oh, there's another one.
The food dish.
Yeah, he's a little messy.
one-legger.
Yep.
He hurt his leg.
Here comes the turkey. This was the original structure, the only structure on the property when it was purchased by Tom, the chicken coop. So this was the only structure that was original to the property when you got it,
Right.
the chicken coop.
Yeah, chicken coop, an old log chicken coop, probably made in the 30s. Probably almost 100 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, that's something.
And now we have Mr. Turkey right here.
There he is.
Oh,
There. He's an oldie but goodie.
there's Mr. Turkey strutting his stuff. Does anybody eat turkey eggs?
Ah, certainly. We eat them occasionally. They aren't as numerous as the chicken eggs, so it's not like we're making a steady diet out of them. We've also given them to other people, and no complaints. And your description of them was what?
The harder shell, a little bit more pointy, and they have more albumin, the white
Albumin,
part.
yeah.
Albumin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're a
A
little.
little bigger than the chicken egg,
Yeah.
too. This isn't the largest heritage breed you can get, but the larger heritage breeds have even larger turkey eggs than these.
What breed is this turkey?
Royal Palm, P-A-L-M.
It's a heritage breed.
Yeah.
It's kind of a smaller heritage breed.
Yeah. So it started from a wild turkey, which is more brownish and grayish. Somehow they selected and got this white.
There was a frost last night, so might as well pick some of these raspberries for breakfast because they're just going to go to mush on the vine now. So got a nice little handful there, and pretty tasty. No use in letting these go to waste. Those are good. Picking the last of the season's raspberries today, so we got a pretty good haul considering it's so late.
This is real wild rice from a lake in Wisconsin. So Tom uses the pole. He has the pole, and I've got the knockers. So I'm using the sticks and, like in the canoe.
To knock the rice in the canoe.
Yeah. So we get quite a bit of this. This is a good food
So this is truly wild rice from the wild.
from the wild.
The Ojibwa use it as a principal food. Historically, they call it the food that grows on the water.
So there's an added benefit to collecting rice. What is that?
Rice worms. We've been ricing for years. This is the first time this year we actually pulled some of those rice worms out. They usually crawl off, when you try to dry the rice, and so it's not in your rice, but there's a lot of worms because they're eating rice too. We put them in a frying pan, I don't know, maybe a half a cup. And man, sweet, good texture, and so fatty. That was the surprising thing. Rich, very good. I would eat them again.
So a really good taste. And all you had to do was just put them in a skillet?
Yeah, I would guess they'd be good, dropped over the rice, on your plate. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Look, we've got a couple of customers coming now.
Our typical customers.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, that's our official greeter. Or one of them. Bernie, don't eat that cookie.
I gotta say, this girl looks like one smart cookie coming here.
That's what they call me.
What goes best with cookies?
Hey, check out these cats. These guys travel with 3 cats. If you'd like to know more about this perfect duo here, oh, look at that, there's the other one. This perfect duo and the cats can be found on Scotty Finds Adventure on YouTube. So make sure to check these guys out.
We've got another one in the back too, but she's sleeping.
These are nasturtiums, and you can actually eat the flowers and the leaves, and they have kind of a nice peppery taste. I'll show you. They're real pretty, and they taste good. You can eat the flower and the leaf. Is this amaranth flower telling me what it thinks of me? You might not expect to find fresh peaches grown in northern Wisconsin, but you can get them here. Of course, not all are going to make the cut. A little frog right there. There he goes. Lots of broccoli growing here.
Oh, no. In good shape now, too.
Anne likes to pick the fall flowers and makes arrangements to sell or to bring into the house. Let's not forget the greenhouse and harvesting the last of the tomatoes. Forget those tasteless store tomatoes. The best are right from the vine. Am I right?
So how can people be more self-sufficient?
Reuse things, buy things used.
Fix things. Question the need for things in the first place. Find a substitute or a way to fix something or make something for a little application that you might have. Start out small with things that you can master. You don't want to necessarily rip out your power line electric system and get the solar in by evening time. Things take time sometimes and a little study. As you gradually form an attitude, I think, of self-sufficiency and self-reliance, it'll set in all walks of your life. You can take it to extremes almost at sometimes. I think it's so essential that we start repairing things and reusing things.
Okay, so recycle, reuse, restructure existing items, perhaps?
Right.
I would say get rid of your phone or your computer or limit your time on it. You know, maybe just an hour a day. But you can't get anywhere by just reading about stuff or looking at stuff. And books, there's so many books. Get some good books. You know, going out and foraging is something that is so fun. It's so fun to make meals out of things that you can get just by foraging or grow your own food.
There's several books you can get that have a lot of condensed information about earth-based living and that sort of stuff. To get a kind of a book like that, you know, general and specific both, but is easy reading. You don't have to go cover to cover, because a lot of times we only have a small snatch of time, you know, but you can get some good ideas and direction in that little snatch of time.
So from your own experiences, what would you say would be the best advice to give to people who maybe want to be self-sufficient, but who aren't quite familiar with how to do that? In a nutshell, what would you say the best way to become more self-sufficient in their personal lives would be?
I think they have to look at why they feel they should become self-sufficient. And there's all kinds of reasons for self-sufficiency. One might be better economics, another might be just satisfaction, but a third might be in dire times. Even if you're not a prepper, it might be important for you to be able to figure out how to do things with the resources at hand. And if you have certain procedures you've started too, you're not going to be as hard hit. All kinds of things that add, you know, toward the future possibilities. Dystopian some of them may be. We live out in the country and we've been off-grid since 1982, but there are people in this general broad area that are hooked into the grid and their electricity goes out sometimes. And ours hasn't been out. It can be as bad as having a freezer full of meat and vegetables and fruits and the electricity goes out and they all rot. Take the minor steps first, get a feel for it. I think it's important to buddy up a little to other people doing things too, and then you can swap results you're having and compare, you know, notes on things.
We were trying to figure out how self-sufficient you guys are the other night. Let's list everything that you actually buy. Do you buy much of anything?
We buy salt.
Fuel for the chainsaws and for a vehicle to make deliveries to town or whatever.
Organic sugar to make jam.
Yeah, well, I do go through axe handles. Sometimes I buy a group of those at a group rate, though I think I could make a handle okay, you know, myself. And we buy certain foodstuffs. We go to thrift stores. We buy a lot of used clothing there. I try to avoid the underwear, but, you know, socks and shirts and pants. But we also make a lot of our own clothing too that we wear at certain times out of deer skins because we brain tan deer hides. Sometimes we buy new nursery stock plants. We've got maybe a dozen varieties of raspberries growing right now, and put that in the ground, and after a year or two you don't have to buy 300 or 200 or 100 plants. You can, if you have the time and the patience, you can propagate them yourself. And it goes with other kinds of trees too, fruit trees. And we buy flour. We make a lot of jams to sell commercially, so we have to buy organic sugar and organic pectin for that. We haven't figured out, though we could do it and should be working on it, how to make our own pectin. We do buy a lot of jars. Every jar of jam we sell, we have a little tag that goes on the top of it. This jar can be reused or returned.
So basically what you buy, in a nutshell, I think we have, and I remember peanut butter came up.
Yeah, peanut
rice,
butter,
chocolate, spaghetti. Did that come up?
Some little treat things.
Flour.
We wouldn't have to.
Sugar, coffee. Does that come up?
Yeah, coffee.
Okay.
There's a few things.
Some oil.
Gasoline. Yeah. But outside of that, not a whole lot.
Right.
No.
Very rare. Right. So you don't spend much money because you have no utility bills, right?
No utility.
No water.
No water bill.
Right.
You don't really have any bills, do you?
Taxes.
Yeah. Property taxes, yeah.
Right. We run a farm, so in Wisconsin, at least a lot of the things that we purchase are, if you're buying them new, we can be tax exempt. You know, because of the farm, if it's for farm use, it's tax exempt.
Okay, so that saves you money there.
Right. You get eBay and Amazon to agree with your tax exempt status, but you have to jump some hoops. You have to send them some forms and stuff.
So basically just a little bit of food, some gasoline, a few little gadgets, and that's pretty much it.
We had to buy a cordless phone this year.
So you make your money through selling your organic produce here, correct?
Yeah, here in farmers markets and some limited wholesale.
And that's the bulk of your income then?
Right.
Yeah.
You can see the old wagon wheel there. And if you come around here, you can see that the tree has entirely grown around it. You can see it going right through the tree there. Tell me about this, Tom. What is this?
It was part of a wagon that probably was horse-drawn. They had a horse or two, and when they left, the wagon got parked there quite a long time ago. That's an ironwood tree, and that's a maple up there, and they're probably about 50 years old, so maybe they didn't start growing right away, but soon after they left.
Grandma and Grandpa.
Yeah, Grandma and Grandpa.
She's the maple and he's the ironwood.
There you go. That could be.
And that wagon was from your grandpa.
Yeah, the wagon was from the grandpas. I can't find anyone left who recalls being on the wagon or anything, but you know, my cousin Jane in Duluth might, if I question her on it.
So that thing's probably from 1910 or so, maybe.
Yeah, I would say.
This is a spring leaf for the what? The seeds?
Yeah.
The seeds, you think?
Yeah, or on,
Or the
or
load?
the cargo. I'm
The
not.
load, yeah.
I can't really tell how long the thing was. If there was a back end to it, or if this was just like a, you know, a buckboard sort of thing. Look at the springs they had. It was probably made for hauling a load for sure.
Oh, yeah.
A half-ton pickup doesn't have that that much for springs now.
Just outside of the cabin where I stayed is this old Pontiac that now serves as homestead decor. Does anyone know what year and model this might have been? Also nearby were those old farm implements. Was this some sort of harvester?
I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about self-sufficiency with Ann and Tom. Don't forget to give me a like on the video, share, and subscribe. Until next time, this is the Rockhopper. I'll see ya!
Bye.